Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of the Magic Shul Bus. My name is Michael Colasanti. I am a practitioner of high-dose psilocybin, LSD, and DMT. I am a Jew by choice, and I am traveling the United States in a school bus with my two dogs, seeking freedom, love, and transcendence. Please join me on this journey as we explore life, consciousness, divine creation, Nofx, and everything in between. All right, so we are going to do something a little different today. We are going to do a ranking of the punk group Nofx's studio albums, as well as a few EPs that I have cherry-picked that I really enjoy. We're going to go worst to best. So we're going to start here in the F column with Maximum Rock and Roll. No surprise there. This album sounds awful. It's terrible. It's unlistenable. It's dog water. Moving up into the E column, we are going to move right into Liberal Animation. Liberal Animation is an improvement from Maximum Rock and Roll, no doubt. It's still not very good, but it's definitely, they've made progress from Maximum Rock and Roll. They've definitely made progress. Beyond that, I don't have much more to say about it. Moving up into the D column is going to be S&M Airlines. Again, better than their previous work. They're getting better. They're getting better. A few standout tracks I do enjoy on this one. The opener, Day to Days. There's also a halfway decent, humorous cover of Fleetwood Mac's Go Your Own Way, which I like. But beyond that, really nothing here to go back to. Okay, we're going to move up into the C column, and this is going to be one of their more recent works. First Ditch Effort. This is a strange album. It's just really forgettable. I don't know, nothing. There's only one track that I really enjoy on this, which is California Drought. Beyond that, everything else is just sort of, I never find myself returning to this album to listen to anything in particular aside from California Drought. I don't know. They just missed the mark on this one. And I'll be honest, at this time, this is 2016, I wasn't sure that Nofx was going to be putting out. I thought they may have been done. Like they've done everything they can do. There was kind of a hopeless kind of feeling at this point with the group where I went through the album and I was just like, I don't know. They've hit their high note. So, but they've got good stuff to come. Okay, so after that, we are going to be moving on to column B with 2012's Self-Entitled. Now, here's the thing with Self-Entitled. I would actually have it ranked higher than B. The problem is, for whatever reason, when they mastered this album, it's mastered incredibly quiet. It's super quiet. I just compare it. Go and listen to it and compare it to their other albums. It's hard to listen to. It's so quiet. And otherwise, I like it. I like it. There's some good tracks in here. I like the opener, 72 Hookers. I love I Fatty. There's Ronnie and Mags on here, I believe. Xmas Has Been X'd, I'm a big fan of. There's some good stuff here, but it's just recorded so quietly. It's hard to jam out to. Okay, after that, we are going to be we're staying in column B, and we are bringing out Heavy Petting Zoo, 1996. This is a really weird album. This came off of the success of Punk and Drublic, and it sounds nothing like Punk and Drublic. Not the vibe, not the direction. It's just weird. I don't know. Even the name of the album and the the art direction on the cover. And the funny thing is, the cover that you see here, that's the rated the PG version. If you look it up, I don't know if it was released in Europe or somewhere else, or if it was never released, but if you look up the original artwork for this, the guy on the cover, instead of the lamb or the sheep in his lap, he's 69ing with it. It's weird, dude. It's a weird album. And it's not awful. Like, I went back and listened to it today. It's actually better than I remember it, but it's just, there's no flow between the songs, and you'll get one good song and then the next song will just be, I don't know. It's a weird experience. Heavy Petting Zoo. Okay, so we're going to move on from there, and we are going to climb into the A tier. Let's see here. So next up, we are going with Ribbed. This is an awesome album. This is a really great album. This, because you go from S&M Airlines to Ribbed, and the difference, you can tell that Nofx, they were just playing and practicing and refining. This is also, I believe, the first album with Hefe on it. And it shows. This album it's fire. It's fast. It's brutal. It's got some great riffs to it. So yeah, Ribbed is awesome. Love Ribbed. I will be totally transparent though about this. Ribbed and the album I'm about to put up next, I consider them sister albums. I don't give them a lot of listen time though. I respect them for what they are, and they are the foundation for the Nofx I know and love, but it's still they're not quite there yet. And that's going to segue into the next album, White Trash, Two Heebs and a Bean. Again, this album is, when this album hits, when it's on, it's absolute fire. Sticking in My Eye, it's incredible. They're really getting their chemistry down, and their overall precision and timing really on point here. Okay, then we're going to climb up into the A+ tier here. The next track that I'm about to put up may irritate some people as being too low on the list, but this is where I place it. Wolves in Wolves Clothing. Now listen, I really like this album. I love this album. It's fucking fantastic. I love 60% as an opener. It's one of the greatest openers to a Nofx album. It's fantastic. However, when I find myself skipping over a lot of the middle parts of this album, there's a fair chunk of this album that they're not bad songs. I just don't seek them out. Some standouts are The Man I Killed, which I enjoy. It's kind of different for a NoFX song. I like the way it kind of swings. It's got a nice sound to it. Benny Got Blowed Up is good. I'm looking at a lot of the middle of the album, and aside from You Will Lose Faith, it's much, aside from Wolves and Wolves Clothing and You Will Lose Faith, a lot of the middle of the album, most of it, it's a lot slower than some of their other work. And that may factor into it. I think Wolves and Wolves Clothing is fantastic. It really is a good album. It's not one of my favorites. So yeah, Wolves and Wolves Clothing, A+. And the song Wolves and Wolves Clothing is amazing. It's one of my favorite NoFX albums. 60% and Wolves and Wolves Clothing are two standout songs on this. Doornails is good too. Okay, so we are going to move on to the next album in the A+ category. This is an EP. This is the first EP we're putting up. This is the Xmas Has Been X'd EP. I wanted to put this up just because I love that song, and I believe it is mastered. It's at full volume, unlike its self-entitled counterpart. so you can listen to it in all its glory. And then New Year's Revolution's on there, and I think wore out the soles of my party boots. It's good. It's good. I enjoy it. So I put that one an A+. Okay, now we're moving on to the best of the best, into the S category. This is where the bulk of their music in is S and S+. All right, so we're going to start it off with, I always refer to it as 45 or 46 songs. I'm actually referring to the 22 songs or whatever. Basically, the first disc is what I'm talking about. The second disc was a waste. It was like a series of 1 minute like jerk off songs. But the first disc of this is fire. And it's hard to believe that these are, songs that were recorded during other sessions, for different albums. They just either couldn't find a place for, or I don't know, but like the songs on this album are amazing. You've got All of Me, Lower, Electricity's great, Lazy. I love Lazy. For the longest time, I didn't know Lazy was a cover either. Lazy is a cover of a Bracket song. All of Me is a cover too. Old school, big band era song. Pimps and Hookers is a great. They recorded that specifically for this album. See Her Pee is actually a great 1 minute song too. I don't even know if it's that long. Zyklon B Bathhouse is a decent jam. I always had a soft spot for San Francisco Fat, and the Eat the Meat dub mix is fantastic. So yeah, I have fond memories of this album. And it's got some great stuff on here. Okay, next up in the S tier, we're going to be going to Pump Up the Volume. This is an absolutely fantastic album. Pump Up the Volume. This was the first album that came out after I was a NoFX fan. This was the first album we went out and bought that came out, like a new album when I was a fan, and it delivered. It's got some fire here. Take Two, Placebos, Dinosaurs Will Die, Marijuana. And this album has quite possibly my favorite NoFX song in Total Bummer. I am the biggest Total Bummer fan. It is just a fantastic song. I love Mike's direction, his lyrical direction with it, and just the vibe of it. Total Bummer is fantastic. It really, really is. So, Pump Up the Volume, fantastic. Great album. Okay, moving on from there, I am going to go ahead and go to another EP. This is Stoke Extinguisher EP. This is a good one. This is a really good one. I actually got this one a little bit late. I slept on this for a few years, but this one is fantastic. Stoke Extinguisher. There's a cover of a Tony Sly song, Shortest Pier, which is absolutely fantastic. And then it's got, I think, Wore Out Souls, My Party Boots, maybe New Year's Revolution too. But the first two tracks are just absolutely fantastic. Good enough to where I had to include them in this list. Okay, from there I'm gonna throw up. This will be interesting how this is received, but we're gonna move into New Era, and I had the hardest time trying to separate. I'm just going to do them together because I had the hardest times trying to figure out if I should separate them, but they're so evenly balanced and they were recorded basically at the damn near the same time. They're just going to go together. We are going to go with single album and double album. I love these albums. I love both of them. They are fantastic. They really, really are. Some of NoFX's best songwriting skills and instincts are put to use here between these two albums. I can hear when listening to these albums, everything, they mix little nuances from their entire careers as musicians, you hear it come into its brilliance here on these two albums. They're not inconsistent, but there's enough good music between these two albums that I really enjoy them. They definitely start and end on a different note. I honestly think that I prefer Double Album just a tiny bit more, just for the simple fact of how it opens. I love Darby Crash, and then into my favorite Enemy, Don't Count on Me. I enjoy the first half of Double Album. It falls off a little for me in the back end. I like how it ends though with Gone with the Heroin. And single album screams too. I was initially a little disappointed because of how short it was, but after just repeated listens of both single and double, I really enjoy them. Single album, I Love You More Than I Hate Me, which I absolutely love. Fish in a Gun Barrel, I love that. I love when Nofx, whenever they try anything kind of sky, reggae, it usually comes out really well. Birmingham, I enjoy. I liked what they did with Linoleum. I thought that was awesome. That was such a neat callback and reference and slightly different spin on a classic. So I liked what they did there. Grief Soto's good, and then it didn't. I initially didn't like Doors and Fours, but Doors and Fours has grown on me. I love Doors and Fours, and then Your Last Resort I think is one of their greatest songs. It is absolutely fantastic. I also wanted to mention, I forgot, on Double Album, I really, really dig Fuck Day 6. I absolutely love that song, especially the opening 30, 45 seconds, whatever, of just Mike singing with the guitar. I love it. It's fantastic. But yeah, single and double album, I know some people didn't receive it well, but I loved them. I thought they were great. And yeah, and I thought also that it was a great return to form, so to speak, after First Ditch. Because after First Ditch, I wasn't sure if they were going to bounce back or put anything out. I kind of had a negative approach to where Nofx was going to go, and with single and double, they really restored my faith, and they put out some solid sound. Okay, so does that conclude? Yes, that concludes S tier. Now this is the best. This is S plus. So you can guess this is everything else. I will say I have a difficult time like between in the S plus tier. You know, ranking them in that tier. I don't know that I can. So this is in no necessary order, but I will kind of just give my thoughts on where I order them. All right, so the first one, I'm gonna just put this up there. It's got to go up first. This is their magnum opus, and this is an album as far as I'm concerned. I know it's technically an EP, but the experience from listening to this start to finish, the emotional roller coaster that you go through listening to The Decline it's a transcendental experience. It really is. It's an amazing piece of music, of sound, and it is Nofx at their best, for sure. The Decline is, I don't think I'm saying anything controversial. The Decline is their best work, for sure. Following that, I'm going to go into my personal favorite album of theirs, and that is going to be So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. I will admit some bias. I don't think it's nostalgia, but this Slatfats was my first Nofx album. That's just the way that it worked out. Got into Nofx in like 99. And this was their most recent album, and this was on the store shelves, and this is what came home, and this is what my friends and I listened to, and it just blew our minds apart. It absolutely blew our minds apart. I remember I read that Bruce Springsteen, I'm quoting Bruce Springsteen. He was reading when he said the first time that he heard "Like a Rolling Stone" by Bob Dylan, it was like a door getting kicked open in his mind. That's the way for myself. So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. It was just, I'd never heard music like that before. And going back to talking about recording sound quality, this is their best sounding album. This is when this is during their golden years, recording with producer Ryan Green. And Ryan Green and Nofx together was just, it was magic. And pretty much, I think 4 out of the, how many ever, what do I have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 albums left in here. I think 4 of them are Ryan Green collaborations. But yeah, So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. It's loud. It's powerful. Everything. It'll make your house shake. But it doesn't clip though. It's not distorted. It is the crispest, cleanest. It's just you can feel the concussion hit you in the chest when you put this album on. It has got such power and such force. I will also say the vibe and the flow, the way this album, when you put it on, it flows from one song to the next really, really well. I'll admit there's a lot of songs on Slatfats that if they come on out of context, I'll skip past them. But listening to Slatfats as an album, it flows better than anything they've ever done before. And ever since, it's just got an incredible flow about it. So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes is just, it is just a wonderful, wonderful piece of music. And some of Nofx's best. Okay, so we're going to go to the next album here. I'm going to put up War on Errorism. I love this album. Again, this is another Ryan Green production here with Nofx, Motor Studios. This was an interesting time in Western civilization. You know, the early 2000s, post 9/11. This was just a really crazy time. And Nofx was on fire. They were putting out amazing music. And they put out this gem. Just about every single track on this is one of their most consistent albums in terms of good to bad song ratio. This thing is, War on Errorism is basically a grand slam. Just about every song on here is fantastic. And this has my favorite, Whoops I OD'd is my favorite finale, closing song on a Nofx album. I just love that. The final goodbye, I'll see you all at Okie Dogs. This is a fantastic album. There's no way around it. Okay, next up we are gonna throw, and again, I don't know why I'm even there's no discernible order here really. I'll throw this up here. I mean, I don't even know what I can say about this album that hasn't been said by a million other people. It's just, this was the game changer for them. Punk and Drublick was the game changer. Everything about this album is fantastic. It's got a great mix of its tone is even, it's fun, but it's powerful. It's great. This is the first collaboration between Nofx. This is another Ryan Green produced album, but this is the first collaboration between Ryan Green and Nofx, and it's magic. It really is amazing. All right, from there, I am going to highlight a Nofx album that I've slept on for a long, long time. I'm going to be honest. And only until very recently did I even give this album any listen. But that is Coaster. Coaster is incredible. Coaster is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I gave it a listen to years and years ago, but it must have been at a different point in my life. It just didn't resonate. and I put it on the other. This is an album that always gets lost in the shuffle for me, and I think it's even for Nofx in the community. I think this is kind of an underrated album. But Coaster is amazing. Wow, is this a powerful album? This has got a great. This is almost kind of like a return to form on some of their earlier stuff of like the ribbed and white trash era, where it goes back to a lot of that like guitar shredding, rock and rolly sound to it, but it's got the quality, and they have the chemistry and the precision to really pull it off and put together an awesome album. I will say that because I didn't know there was, I've been familiar for years with the acoustic version of why am I drawing a blank right now? On Cokie the Clown. The hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. The My Orphan Year. I don't know why I was drawing a blank. My Orphan Year. I have been familiar with that song for years off Cokie the Clown. I didn't know this the full band version. I didn't realize there was a version of it, and I heard it recently, and wow, that song alone, My Orphan Year, is alone enough to put Coaster in the S+ category. That is one of the greatest. That is top 3 Nofx songs right there. Absolutely fantastic. Wonderful album. Love it. Can't say enough good things about it. And then finally, you see it sitting down there all by its lonesome. Let's just throw Cokie the Clown up there. This is a fantastic EP. I mean, again, one of the greatest Nofx songs, Cokie the Clown. And then what's the Fermented and Flailing is fantastic. Codependence Day. And then My Orphan Year, the acoustic version. Straight Out of Massachusetts is, it's okay. But those other tracks are fantastic. But this is it, though. This is the list I compiled. I spent a lot of time putting this together. Spent the last couple of days just binging on NoFX and going through all their stuff and listening to it. Again, obviously the EPs are cherry picked. It started with The Decline, though, because The Decline is just, I consider it one of their albums. And so I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to throw The Decline in there, there's a couple other EPs that I really like. I may as well throw in there as well. But most of their material falls in the up here, though, in the top categories. They have such a large volume of music. It's crazy. But yeah, wanted to share that with you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.